and I have been thrifting and book shopping these last few days, and I wanted to share with you what I found. I will start off with the books. Some of these are thrifted, but most of them are new. This is a pile of books that I bought, and I'm very happy with this. At the thrift store, I found Stardust by Neil Gaiman. I have never read anything by this author. I have seen Good Omens, the TV show with David Tennant, and I really like that. So I saw this, I read the blurb on the back, and I was like, yes. This is a fantasy romance, I think. It's about this guy, Tristan, who falls in love with Victoria and vows to bring her the star that has fallen from the sky, and that's all I know. This was released, I think, in the late 90s, and I really like what this cover looks like. It's very soft as well, so I decided to just give it a go. It has some beautiful illustrations as well. Next up, I found One of Us is Lying at the thrift store. It has red painted pages, which I really like. This is a YA crime mystery, I think. This is about 5 students who go to detention together, but only 4 of them come out. And it sounds kind of silly, but also kind of fun. So we'll see how this goes. I actually never read crime or like mystery novels, although I do think that I will like it. Then I also bought A Beautifully Foolish Endeavor by Hank Green. This is the sequel to An Absolutely Remarkable Thing, which I thoroughly enjoyed, and I've actually been telling myself to get this book for about 2 years now, like ever since it came out, and I just never did. And so now was the time. I actually went, this is from a different bookstore, I actually went to the secondhand bookstore first, and I was actually looking for some other book that I just couldn't find. And so then I went to this independent bookstore. They didn't have that one book either, so I bought this book instead. I wanted to support the local bookstore, so I went ahead and bought this. And then I went to a third bookstore where they also didn't have the book I wanted. And in the fourth bookstore, I was finally lucky. The book I was looking for was A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. I finished A Court of Thorns and Roses, the first one in the series, I think on Tuesday. And I wanted to read the next one as fast as I could. I was hoping that I would find it in the secondhand store, but it was a long shot. But then after going to like the independent bookstore, just didn't sell any books in the series. I guess it wasn't, how do I say this? I guess it wasn't highbrow enough for that bookstore. And so then I went to just like a regular bookstore where they only had the books after this one in the series. And then in the fourth store, they finally had this one. I'm already halfway through and I'm loving it. Like, I cannot stop reading this. I never thought that I would like this, but I do. Like, I never saw myself as someone who was into fantasy. Yeah, I read like Harry Potter and Percy Jackson, but it was never that like high fantasy stuff, never stuff about fairies and wars and, you know, things like that. But when I started reading the first book in the series, I kind of felt the way I felt when I was reading The Hunger Games for the first time, and that was a good feeling. So I'm just carrying on. And so then when I saw that Stardust book by Neil Gaiman, I was like, this is fantasy as well. Maybe I will like it too. So here we go. And so before I went to the fourth bookstore, in the third bookstore, I decided to just already take the third book with me, and also this smaller book in the series. I have no idea if this is a book that you're meant to read like between some of the books, or if this is for after. I don't know. But I decided, well, they're here. I don't want to end up in the same position as I did with the second book. I didn't want to finish it and then not have the next book. So I got this one as well. I didn't get the final book in the series because in neither of the bookstores where they had these, they had like the same edition for the last book. So they only had, I think that one is supposed to be orange, but they only had like a gray edition, and I was like, no, I want the colorful set, because I actually really do like these covers. I feel like the rebranding of this series is honestly what saved it, or like made it boom, because I feel like I've heard of A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J Maas for years, you know. The first book came out in 2015, and it just felt so YA to me, and it didn't feel like something that I would have enjoyed, especially with the covers, which I hated. But now with these ones, I feel like they leave a little bit more to the imagination. They're very colorful, which kind of does fit the books. Like, the books are very colorful, if that makes sense. But anyway, I just wanted these books, and I'm actually sad that it took me this long to read this. I mean, not this one, but the first novel in the series, because I am loving it. Those are all the books that I got. Then I will move on to clothing, because I thrifted this dress. I found this on Vinted. It had been in my favorites for literal months. And then recently I looked into like kibi body types and just trying to figure out what types of clothing looked good on me. And I realized that I am a soft gamine, and this dress just really honors that. Especially like layered with a t-shirt underneath. And so I saw this in my favorites on Vinted, and I was like, yes, now is the time. So I really like the color. I've also realized that I'm a soft autumn color-wise, which means that I look good in warm colors that are a little bit muted, so not very bright, and also light. So I feel like this kind of mustard yellow looks really good on me. So here we are. I also got this belt to match with that. I don't know if you can see that. Here we go. This belt. This also has to do with the kibi body types. So I'm a soft gamine, which means that I am very petite. So I'm short, but I'm not just short. I also appear very short and small and delicate. Like, when you see me, even though other people are the same height, I will always be the short one, the small one, the tiny one. It's just something that you cannot look past. But I also have this kind of verticalness to me. Like, I'm short, but I don't look disproportionately short, if that makes sense. I don't know if it does. But if you know anything about kibi, it's all about yin and yang. Yin features being like soft, rounded, fleshy, you know, that kind of stuff. And then yang is like angular, wide, or sharp, or blunt, or just kind of the opposite of yin. And as a soft gamine, I have both. So I am soft, but I also have this angularity. Like, my shoulders, they aren't sloped or anything, they're just like, you know, there's like an angle to it. And I also have this little bit of vertical line that, I don't know. Anyway, just that mix of yin and yang makes it so that I look very good in contrasted clothes. Contrast between soft, rounded, delicate, and sharp, angular stuff. So, for example, I look very good with a high neck. I look also very good with form-fitting clothes. I need some waist emphasis to really shine. Collar blocking looks really good on me. What doesn't look very good on me is like loose fitting clothes or oversized items that they just swallow me up. You know, I just disappear completely. So I was looking for a belt because this division between like the top half of me and my bottom half, on me it has this very elegant effect or very put together effect. And so I wanted to find a belt that would fit me and that would suit this purpose whenever I was wearing a dress that didn't naturally have like some waist emphasis. And then I also got this blouse, and now if you have listened to what I was talking about, so this is obviously a lot looser than what I'm wearing at the moment, but it does have a hang neckline that is just fitted, you know, and the sleeves are pretty fitted as well. They have this, you know, they're rolled over like this just like this shirt. Like, look at the difference that this makes. Which arm looks better? This one. The clothing that I wear has to be fitted where the clothing ends, if that makes sense. So like, if a sleeve ends here, it needs to be fitted there. If it ends here, it needs to be fitted here. These sleeves also have that little cuff that makes it appear more fitted. And then when I tuck this into a high-waisted pair of jeans, or if I tie a knot in it, it looks just so good. It also has this little delicate pattern, a little bit of color blocking going on. The colors aren't very soft autumny, they're more like soft summer, or maybe even spring, but you know, I'm trying to do everything right, and I do really like this. It's so soft and cute. And I found this in just a regular thrift store. Then, of course, I always look for yarn when I go thrifting, and I found some yarn. I found 3 skeins of this lovely blue, and also a few skeins of this green, which is a color that I have actually been looking for ever since I started thrifting, and I love this color. I know it's not in my color season, but look how good this looks. You know, and I'm trying to make a dress from this, and I will not have enough yarn, but since I look good in color blocking, I figured that I would find some other colors to add into the dress later on, so that's fine. Lastly, I also found some frames that I wanted to share with you. Like, look at this, look how classy this is. Then I found this little frame and I want to keep a picture in it. It says, daar alleen kan liefde wonen, daar alleen is leven zoet, waarom stil en ongedwongen alles voor elkander doet. And it means only there love can live, only there life is sweet, where one quietly and unforced does everything for one another, or something like that. And the picture is of like a husband and a wife, presumably, and the husband is like holding yarn between his hands while the woman is like rolling a skein of yarn or rolling a ball of yarn with the yarn. And I thought that was so cute because I just love yarn. And I have done this with my partner, so I thought that was cute. Then I have these matching pastel blue frames. These are from IKEA. They have not been used, and I already have a bigger frame exactly like this, which I thought was funny. And I also think that they would really go nicely with, like, you know, the gold frame that I found as well. And then lastly, I have this frame, which I think might be a little bit over the top. I'm definitely going to be taking out the religious painting in there. And that was everything that I got. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up so I know that you liked it. If you like books, thrifting, stuff like that, definitely stick around because I make videos about that all the time. If you've read any of the books, let me know what you think of them. I would love to know what your opinion is, and I will see you next week. Bye!